Mauricio, whose title holds more precedence? Who has the bigger title in recognition of the WBC? Is it Teofimo or is it Devin right now?
The franchise designation was created to recognize a very few fighters of the highest level of importance in industry. Teofimo Lopez is a WBC franchise. He won the Undisputed fight. Devin Haney, WBC champion, and he's fighting Gamboa. And I understand there's confusion about this matter, but I take the satisfaction to see great activity of great fights happening. And I'm just happy to see Lopez Lomachenko, to see Haney Gamboa, to see Garcia against Campbell, to see Linares against Fortuna. So it's a great tournament in the division, many fights for the fans to enjoy. And it's as simple as that. We are for the fighters, we're for the entertainment. And if I am to blame for any confusion on the heat.
Could you say that last part again, Mauricio? Sorry again with the connection.
Yes, I'm sorry. As I was mentioning, there's a great tournament going on with great events.
I heard that you said about the heat. If there's any confusion or heat, what was that again?
Yeah, I'm very satisfied to see many great fights happening. And if there is confusion, any unpleasant feelings from anyone, I take the heat. I take the responsibility. I'm proud and happy to see what is happening with these great fights, riders, and them making a living for themselves.
Absolutely. And but Mauricio, you can still hear me, right?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, but you know, I'm sure you can understand that where the confusion and the heat comes from is it's so rare that we have a undisputed champion in boxing, and now seemingly we have one, but there's a dispute, so it can't be undisputed because now I know you touched on it just now, but the main question is that people have is whose title is holds more precedence, and if you just had to say one or the other, is it Teofimo's franchise title or is it Devin Haney's WBC world title? If we could only look for one guy to hold precedence, who would it be, Teofimo or Devin, Mauricio?
I don't understand the question. This is a new concept that the WBC introduced, and it has been an avenue for the possibility of making the great fights. I fully explain the franchise designation puts a fighter in a level of itself. That is Teofimo Lopez. Devin Haney is the WBC champion of the division. So I think it's very clear, and Devin Haney has the ability of the champion. He's going to fight the winner of Ryan Garcia and Luke Campbell, and he's going to fight the winner of Fortuna and Linares. Lopez is the franchise champion, and he has no obligations to fulfill. He's free to go out and fight in other weight categories against any other champions and against anyone in that scenario. So I think I understand what I'm trying to say, that there is confusion, but I'm feeling firm to say that this is for the greater activity of boxing overall.
Mauricio, what originally when the title was made last year in 2019 for Canelo and then Loma, it was said that it was non-transferable. You know, originally these titles in Rule 2, I believe you could have a vote for it, you know, your board, but you know, what made that change? That originally this was the title only meant for guys who are kind of, you know, who have been around a long time. And now you give it to a kid who's 23. I mean, originally it was supposed to be for just, you know, guys who've been around a long, long time. Ain't that right? And it wasn't supposed to be transferable. What changed for this fight, Mauricio?
This fight is the one that changed. Teofimo Lopez and Top Rank requested to have the possibility of becoming the franchise champion, fighting for it against Lomachenko, and he defeated Lomachenko. Lomachenko. So as a result, that's a simple response. He defeated the great fighter, the great champion, the franchise, and he adopted the rule. If you go back to any rules in any sport, now you have the 2-point conversion in football. You have in baseball, you have instant replay. I mean, any rule can be upgraded and implemented for the betterment of sport. So that's what we did with this specific one.
And I totally grasp the logic, Mauricio. I know you said on the show earlier this week, Coppinger and Pugmire, their podcast, that the title was meant for guys that drive the sport. And you mentioned other sports, but isn't that tough to say, Mauricio? Because in the NBA or in the NFL, it's not like they give Tom Brady or LeBron James a franchise title every year. You know, they either have the title, the NBA Finals, the Super Bowl, and that's it. They don't get to keeping it just because of their name and their stature. You know, what do you say to that, Mauricio?
No, it's a much different. You have to compare. You cannot compare boxing to any other sport. It's difficult to relate to something like this. One thing that you can relate to is the Olympics. You have the Olympic Games, and then you also have the World Championships. But you cannot compare boxing to any other sport. To do the best things, to innovate, to get up to date, and the most important thing is great matches. There have been great championships lost when a weak and a non-deserving mandatory contender is put to contend for a championship mandatorily. So we're just doing the things that we believe are right for the industry. You might be able out and ask the promoters and the players of the industry their opinion. I believe it has a much more firm grasp of what the franchise designation means.
And Mauricio, for when I have my fight parties, you know, I've had my fight parties since we can't go to the fights. And I have my family over, and one of the things they always is, well, this guy's a champion, but this guy's a champion. Who's the champion? With another belt, and in another division we might be talking about in a little bit too, with the 224-pound and below heavyweight division. You know, do you understand that it gets hard to get people who aren't already fans of boxing to grasp why there's all these belts? To them, it's like, why isn't there just one champion a division?
You tell them to follow the WBC, and then they will have the world champion.
But now sometimes there's two world champions from the WBC.
Well, if you want to go into that, just do it all day long. I already made explanation. It's very clear. It's a new concept. If you want to go around in the same thing, it's okay. I respect it, and you can go to your fans and continue that same situation. I'm trying to be very clear, very transparent. It's a very unique situation that has happened with Canelo and that has happened here in the lightweight. I have explained the reasons for their existence, and just like in football, in soccer, you have the World Cup, you have the Fantasy Cup, you have the Euro Cup, you have all these different scenarios. In boxing, cannot resolve the fact that there are many world organizations that have belts. They are recognized, but there exists like 20 or 30 different organizations that want to say they have a belt. So putting it out as it is, I can only respond to what the WBC does and what the WBC means. So control others existing or doing X, Y, or Z. I feel very proud and very confident about the franchise. It is creating avenue for great fights, and that's what I remain with that. I feel very convinced and very happy. Without the franchise designation, maybe we would not have seen Lomachenko fight Lopez, and maybe we would not have seen all these things happening. I don't know. I don't know what to say, because we just keep going in circles.
This is true. This is true. So thank you again for talking about it. I know you've had to talk about it a lot since it was made a year ago.